Let me start with a simple truth that most people never hear. If you are struggling to lose weight, even though you feel like you are doing everything right, the problem is not your motivation, it is not your discipline, and it is not that you are lazy. The real problem is that you were taught rules about weight loss that sound logical, but quietly work against how the human body actually functions. And I want you to stay with me until the end of this video, because the final concept I will share is the single most important factor that determines whether weight loss lasts for a few weeks or becomes permanent for life. Missing that part means repeating the same cycle over and over again. Most people start their weight loss journey with good intentions. They wake up one day and decide that this time they are serious. They clean up their diet, reduce sugar, eat smaller portions, and maybe start exercising more. At the beginning, things seem to work. The scale goes down, clothes feel a little looser, and motivation is high. But then something strange happens. After a few weeks, progress slows down. Hunger increases. Energy drops. Cravings appear out of nowhere. And even though food intake is still low, the scale refuses to move. This is usually the moment when people start blaming themselves. They think they are weak, undisciplined, or simply bad at losing weight. But this is where the biggest misunderstanding begins. Weight loss is often presented as a simple math equation. Eat fewer calories than you burn, and the body will lose fat. While calories do matter, the human body is not a calculator. It is a survival system designed to keep you alive in unpredictable environments. When your body senses that food intake has dropped too much or for too long, it does not respond by happily burning fat. Instead, it responds by adapting. Metabolism slows down, energy expenditure decreases, hunger hormones increase, and fat loss becomes more difficult. This is not a malfunction. It is a protective response. This is why many people feel like they are eating very little and still not losing weight. Their body has adapted to the stress of prolonged restriction. The harder they push, the more resistance they face. One of the biggest mistakes people make is staying in a calorie deficit for too long without any recovery phase. When dieting becomes constant, the body interprets it as a long-term threat. Stress hormones increase, sleep quality often worsens, and fat storage becomes more efficient rather than less. At this point, most people make things worse by cutting food even further or adding excessive cardio. Unfortunately, this sends an even stronger signal of danger to the body. The result is more fatigue, more cravings, and even slower fat loss. The truth is that sustainable weight loss requires strategy, not punishment. Instead of dieting forever, the body responds much better to structured phases. This means periods of moderate calorie reduction followed by periods of eating at maintenance. These maintenance phases allow hormones to stabilize, metabolism to recover, and mental fatigue to decrease. When fat loss resumes after that, it often happens more easily and with less suffering. Another major issue that prevents progress is hidden calorie intake combined with low protein consumption. Many people believe they are eating healthy, but they underestimate how calorie-dense certain foods are. Nuts, oils, smoothies, protein bars, and even healthy snacks can quickly push calorie intake higher than expected. At the same time, protein intake is often too low. Protein plays a critical role in fat loss because it helps preserve muscle mass, increases satiety, and slightly boosts calorie burn through digestion. When protein is insufficient, hunger becomes harder to control and consistency becomes difficult. This is why two people eating the same number of calories can have very different results. The quality and composition of those calories matter more than most people realize. Another important point that needs to be understood is the difference between fat loss and scale weight loss. The scale only measures total body weight, not body composition. You can lose fat, gain muscle, and improve health markers while the scale barely changes. Focusing only on scale numbers creates frustration and often leads people to abandon strategies that are actually working. Real progress shows up in energy levels, strength, sleep quality, and how clothes fit. These indicators are far more reliable than a single number on a scale. Now let's talk about mindset, because without the right mindset, even the best plan will fail. Weight loss is not about suffering more. It is not about proving how disciplined you are. It is about creating habits that you can repeat consistently without burning out. Extreme approaches fail not because people lack willpower, but because the human body and mind are not designed to sustain extremes for long periods. This leads us to the most important principle of this entire video. Consistency always beats intensity. Not motivation. Not perfection. Not extreme discipline. Small, repeatable habits done consistently over time will always outperform short bursts of extreme effort. The body changes when it trusts your behavior, and trust is built through consistency, not punishment. When you stop fighting your body and start working with it, everything changes. Hunger becomes manageable, energy improves, and progress becomes sustainable rather than temporary. If this video helped you understand why weight loss has felt so difficult despite your efforts, make sure to like the video so more people can see it. Subscribe to the channel if you want honest, practical health content that focuses on real results instead of hype. And tell me in the comments, what has been the biggest obstacle in your weight loss journey so far?